I'm curious, what's the average length of one of your calls, would you say, for those that are just brand new to this and they're learning?
Hour.
Yeah.
I would say that's...
Also, too, so here's an example. I was working with a health insurance call center recently that was trying to add final expense. And they were trying to sell final expense in about 10 minutes. It just doesn't work. It's in a very emotional sell. Yes. And it's a very rapport-based sell.
Yes.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and once again, man, I got another special guest in the office. This individual, okay, it's actually really cool because if you're like, hey, I haven't been in the business for a very long time, you're going to love this, okay? Here's why. Only been in business 3 years. Consistently, his claim to fame and accomplishment is consistently issues around $20,000 every single month. Like clockwork, I think about discipline and consistency and just like putting in the work time and time again. This cat has figured it out. Does telesales, focus on final expense, but also does some Medicare and annuities. Did some face-to-phone, face-to-face, but never. He says he's never going back to face-to-face. So please welcome, technically from the Boot Hill of Missouri, only about 3.5 hours away, Mr. Ryan Valet. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be here. I really appreciate you having me. So
you too, buddy. We've known each other for the last couple years-ish. Yeah, year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Yeah. You've been to a couple of workshops. You hang out with our buddy Dave Duford all the time.
Yes.
What would you say, like, for someone that's like, hey, dude, I like the thought of issuing $20,000 every month over the phone. What does that look like? Like, how do you feel like, because like you said 20K, on average, for how long? Like, just like the whole time or the last so many?
Yeah. So
obviously everybody has a dip every now and then, but.
Yeah, exactly. And rarely has my dip ever been below 20, right? Like the average is 20, but I've had my $30,000, $40,000 months,
It's awesome. What'd you do different in those months to hit 30 or 40 versus 20? Just did more?
Typically work more.
Yeah.
And in sales in general, oftentimes it comes in waves. You've got the people who you talk to 2 or 3 times before you finally close them. Obviously, in final expense, you try to make sure that is few and far between.
Yeah.
But
it's pretty rare
oftentimes, though. Yeah. Oftentimes, you want to go for one or two call close. So
what percentage of your sales are one call versus a second call?
I would say. I would say the majority of my sales are, I would say probably 85% are one call.
Cool. That makes sense.
I would add that it makes a difference that I do pre-scheduled appointments. I've been doing pre-scheduled appointments only. I literally don't make any outbound calls other than a preset appointment.
Wow.
Been doing that for about 1.5 years now.
Yep. You're setting them, an appointment setter?
Nope. The client is setting them themselves. So
that's cool.
They're finding the advertisement, following the lead as it goes.
For final expense too. That's rare.
Yes.
Interesting. And what percentage show up?
It is such a huge variable, right?
Give me a conservative middle.
Yeah. So
is it half? Is it better?
Probably less than half,
I
would say. And I say it's such a large variable because, on a Monday I may have 20 appointments, and some Mondays I've talked to 10, and then some Mondays I literally can't get but one person on the phone.
Wow. Got it.
So it is a large variable.
So between 5% and 50.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Sure. Yeah. But obviously the low days is rare, but you know what, that happens. That's the interesting part of this business is like there's never going to be a day that is ever the exact same.
Yes.
Do you like that, or does that scare you, or you're kind of used to it now?
It does not bother me at all. And I would attribute that to my experience in sales.
You did sales before?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Yeah. So I work for a pretty big company, AT&T, and sold
decent
TV
size.
and internet. Yeah, exactly. So,
And they scheduled appointments for you as well, and then you went into the home or what?
no, AT&T, it was all over the phone.
Oh,
So
wow.
that would explain why I'm definitely more comfortable with doing.
Was it
over the
call-ins
phone.
or what?
Yeah. Basically, everybody would call in, and we would pick up on the other side, and the whole goal there was one call close. Like that's
Interesting.
absolutely important. But we're being in final expense. It made me appreciate final expense that much more because when it comes to working for a big company like that, their goal is to just sell everybody. And sometimes not everybody needs exactly what you have to sell. So
True.
you have to become very resourceful as to how you sell them. For final expense, one of the biggest reasons why I appreciate it is you are guaranteed to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
Right. Exactly. As of today, I mean, Elon Musk is out there,
Never know.
But it's given the fact that it is a true need, a lot of people's issue or the reason why they don't have it is education.
And do you think it's okay? Do you think it's a lack of education that they don't have it? Because the average age of a final expense prospect that you help, 65, 70?
Yeah, I would
63?
say. Yeah, between 60 and 70.
Okay. And they have typically have a plan or don't have a plan already?
A little bit of both, but I would say typically don't have a plan.
Okay. So because I've always heard, like, I think it's Dave that's always said, like, professional procrastinators. They're ages 60, 70, and they've never planned. So they don't have a plan.
Yes.
And so you're trying to help them get something that they don't have.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's a lot easier, like for like Medicare agents, like they already have it, and this one has a little better benefit, or it's cheaper price, right? Whatever. Where final expense is like they're procrastinating, they don't have it, they haven't planned for their family, but you're trying to talk them into planning for their family now.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're planning now when they haven't planned their whole life? Is it something new it's catching, or a life event happens?
Oftentimes a life event.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they, what we run into a lot is, and it's one of the primary questions that we ask is, why are you looking into this? What triggered you to look into this today, or since you've been looking into this?
It's good.
And oftentimes it's, well, my friend died, and I just watched them go through I have to start a GoFundMe in order to pay for the funeral. I watched my aunt or uncle have to fork out all the money for my dad's funeral.
A lot of times it's someone has recently passed in the last few months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. So
That makes sense.
and it's either they saw the benefit of someone who had insurance in place, or they saw the absolute disaster that it creates of not having anything.
Yep.
So,
and why do you think you're talking to those individuals? Why do you think you do a good job of talking to those individuals? Is it a personality style? Is it simply skill? Is it that you're just really good at building rapport? Is it that, you're from out in the country and everybody else is too? Talk through like why you're having success at like communicating with these type of individuals.
Yeah. It's all of the above. Okay. Right. And I would say that's the biggest reason why I've got the track record of success.
Yep.
It's not just, well, this month I issued $100,000 and,
correct.
Next
there's a
month
lot
I
of that.
issued, yes.
There's a lot of that. I mean, there's been so many people that are like, I can teach you how to make $100,000 a month, and they did it like once.
Yes.
And they're not even selling anymore. And now they're like selling some course on how to make $100,000 every month when they did it one time. It's just wacky, crazy.
And that's the biggest thing. I would say it's probably one of the biggest reasons why people fail out of the business is because they see that shiny object and they think that's the direction they need to go. And then they realize that there's a whole lot more involved with something like that, and sometimes it's a little bit of luck. Sometimes it's hard work and determination. But I would say, for me, whenever it comes to sale, I train all my agents this way, is just like what we're talking right now. As your friends, I tell everybody, and I literally tell my clients this, look, I'm going to treat you as if you're a part of my own family, right? Like if you're my
Yeah.
mom, I'm going to tell you just as I would recommend to
Yep.
my own mother. If this doesn't make sense for you, I'm going to tell you, look, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, I'm going to explain to you all the details that you need to know to make an informed decision.
Yes.
So
How many of them have bought something like through the mail or on TV or whatever that is inferior to what you have to offer?
I'm sure a lot.
Yeah.
And
But they don't always keep it, it seems like, too. But
yes.
or they have 18 different policies, from all kind of places.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm exaggerating a little, but sometimes I'm not.
I've seen many. I talked to a guy not too long ago who had 5 different small policies, and I'm like, look, you've got multiple places that your beneficiary has to go, and you've got
It's a headache.
all this different money going out where you could probably save money on multiple on several of those policies, and then on top of it, get it all in one place.
Correct.
I always
It's a
explain to
big
him,
benefit.
Oh yeah, I had a lady who had 3 policies, and I told her, look, it's kind of like Sam's Club. Oftentimes, if you buy in bulk, you're going to get a better rate. Maybe not every single time, but oftentimes that's the case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the entire what that looks like. If it makes sense, again, just like with as if you're my own mother, if you've got the best rate and what you have is the best thing that you can get, I'm going to tell you, don't do anything and don't let anybody talk you out of it. I think that's one of the most frustrating things about some of the situations that I run into is bad agents. Agents who are just in it to make a dollar.
Yeah.
And I've seen people cancel either my policy or other policies. And I'll call up clients and I'm like, yeah, we talked about it and you were interested and just curious, where your thoughts are. Well, I was told to cancel that other policy, and I'm like, wow, why would you do that? Well, because they said it was a better company. I'm like, look, that company's been around just as long, So there's just a lot
There's a lot of that in the industry.
Unfortunately.
It's so easy to like. Yeah. I'm curious, what's the average length of one of your calls, would you say, for those that are just brand new to this and they're learning?
Hour.
Yeah.
I would say that's
Also, too, so here's an example. I was working with a health insurance call center recently that was trying to add final expense. And they were trying to sell final expense in about 10 minutes. It just doesn't work. It's in a very emotional sell, and it's a very rapport-based sell.
Yes.
Do you think you're better at building rapport or the objection handling and closing, like the sell stuff, or I'm just better with people?
I would say I'm probably better with rapport.
Cool.
But I don't believe there should be very few objections as long as you're doing the sales process right.
Amen to that. Because I feel like a lot of people get objections at the end.
Yes.
But they're not handling them earlier.
Yes.
How often do you get let me think about it?
Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare. Usually I am walking the client into a situation. Every question I ask is designed to find that yes or no sooner and sooner, right?
Yep.
So the one of the first questions I ask is, so how long have you been looking into this, And then if they're here to tell me, if they tell me, well, I just started today, and they've got some attitude, I'm going to position myself a little bit differently, and I'm going to ask questions for someone who is going to be a tougher close.
Yep.
I'm going to have to kind of bust open that shell to really get down to the what's going on, right?
Yep.
What their interest is. I tell my agents, look, it's prospect versus suspect, right? You need to figure out if you've got a prospect or a suspect as soon as possible.
That's good.
Yeah. So last thing you want to do is sit there and talk, and I've done it, right? I know
you're a nice guy.
I like to think so.
I think you can be probably direct when you need to be, but
yeah. I mean, and I think in sales, in this type of sales, right? I don't think that there's any one way. There's no one way to skin a cat, right?
Right.
So I think there's multiple ways you can react to people, but I really do think having a focus on what the end goal is, and learning who you're actually talking to is how you decide whether you should continue that conversation. And I think that's another problem, right? Is with other agents is they try to sell everybody. They think everybody should be sold.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't you're not selling TV and internet.
Yeah.
You're not trying to just get whatever you can.
What percentage? So like, let's just say that the preset appointment, somebody shows up, you talk to someone. What percentage end up becoming a client?
I would say probably is around 60%.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of agents won't see that, but you've been doing it for 3 years, and you've probably taken thousands of calls at this point. You know?
Yes.
Which
Again,
sounds like a big number, but it's 3 years.
That's what I tell my agents when they're having a hard time. Look, you're going to have hard times. I still have
You're
hard times.
supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where it's really tough for people to grasp what.
Why do they think it's supposed to be easy? Because they were sold it was going to be easy by like the initial like recruiter or something, like, you know what I mean? Like
sometimes it's just the
that's
outside perspective
of
of people having success,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And it's Mark Cuban talks about how I wasn't a millionaire. I wasn't a millionaire overnight. He spent since he was the age of 6 selling, and learning how to be a business owner. So
that's true of everything in life, though. It is always harder than we thought it would be.
Always.
It's almost like if something is going well and easy, I'm like scared.
Yeah.
I'm like, this should not be going this well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, which I think that's different from what most people think. They're just like, they don't make any sense, but you've got to like take it in stride and realize, dude, it's just going to be hard.
Yep.
What's your average sale, like the size?
That is something that probably makes me and our team a bit unique. Our average sale, so right now we're averaging, I believe last time I checked, $110 AP. I'm sorry, not AP.
Like, that's unique in the wrong way, bro.
Right. Wrong direction. Monthly, right? So the average AP,
Wow.
we're looking a little over $1,200. So
wow, yeah. I mean, technically, that's if it's $110 a month, that's what is that, $1,320?
Yeah.
AP.
Yep.
Dude, that's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's spend some time there because I did not expect to hear that number.
Yeah.
For those that are new to final expense sales, I the average is probably, you always hear like $65 a month, which is, what is that, $720 to $780 a year, but they're at $1,320, which is, that's almost double. Do you see a worse persistency, or you just have a different process, or you advertise differently, or like what would you say is because you said you and your team, like what would you say you average $110 a month or $1,320 a year, when the average person, I would say they're probably averaging more like $700, $800, $900 now on average, but either way, $1,320 is a big jump.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're 100% right? Like it's, when I first came into the business, it was, expect $800, as your average. And now it's definitely closer to the $900 mark, I would say.
Yeah.
So
it's an extra 50% then. Let's just say the average is $800-900. It's an extra, almost an extra 50%.
Yeah.
That's big though, because that makes a big difference in ROI and margins and all that, man. That's huge.
It's a lot of how you react to a client. I
extrapolate that. What do you mean?
Yeah. So when you're talking to when I'm talking to a client, the whole goal is, again, to inform them of what is going to be in their best interest. They have no resistance or feeling that I'm trying to push them into anything. Although the ultimate goal is to help them find something to buy. In the end, it is their decision, right? And so everything I'm saying throughout the entire call is to help them feel like they made the decision themselves, right? So when it comes to, now we, like many, and not everybody, but like many, we are very price-based, and I don't think in final expense, again, there's different sectors, but in final expense, I don't think we'll ever be able to get away from being price-based, because it's these people are professional procrastinators, so they're very
more
hyper focused on price, right?
Just from because they are low income, so budget matters.
Yes.
Even though most of them, I'm not saying they manage their budget well because they don't, but you get the idea.
And if you're advertising on Facebook, mostly anywhere, but if you're advertising on Facebook, every third scroll or whatever they say is a final expense ad for a senior, So,
wow.
But I think that's what causes them to make the decision that they do is they don't feel pressure to spend more.
Yep.
They're spending what they want to. They feel like they're spending what they want to, and our persistency is no worse than anybody else. We're, we hover around 85, 90%. Most of the time.
What does it typically cost you to get a sell, you think? Have you done that math? I realize
to be
it's
honest
harder
with
to do,
you,
but
no.
that's okay.
I look at my checking, my account, and I'm like, I'm paying bills just fine. Everything's going through just fine. So it is one thing that we've tried to implement. And
sure. What do you think you spend on average a month? Like $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 grand?
Yeah, I believe I'm right around $5,000 a month.
So $5K averaged right in 20, 4x return. Not including advances and chargebacks and extra comp, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Dude, that's impressive. Huh. What else would bring value to agents that I haven't asked yet that we just have forgot to talk about?
Value. So there's so many different things, right?
There's a lot.
Like
if I had to throw you up on stage to teach one thing for 10 minutes, what would you teach on?
Pick your right mentor.
That
is the absolute.
Why is that so important? Because a lot of people have an ego and they've never been in sales or business and they just don't understand.
Even if it's not the ego, it's in our business. We're in a business of people who want to sell you a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah,
all the time. I mean, if you sign up to one thing, you're constantly seeing something to buy something else, and it's that shiny new object, this person issued 100,000 because they have these special ads. There's no special ads, right?
No.
I do think that there is a little bit to advertising that you can attract one type or another.
Yeah.
But
that's also why I got away from all the advertising personally and just got back into leads, because it's like, dude, that's just what people need.
Yes.
They just need people to talk to.
Yes.
Like, it ain't rocket science.
It's not.
I think that's why you remain so consistent, is you're not letting things sway you or take you off. Even though I'm sure you've had plenty of things that you're like, gosh, should I do that? Should I not? I get it, but I feel like you've done a really good job of staying on task and remaining focused. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I can still, why I still operate off of appointments only, is because I've done the same thing for so long. So my advertising has learned what I like, and again, there's still ups and downs, but that's the struggle, and where a mentor would come in is when you have those valleys. You got the highs, you don't need anybody. You literally don't need anybody to talk to. Everybody's happy, everything's great. When you've got the lows, it's really tough, and if you don't have the right person, if you've got somebody who just tells you, go buy more, go do this, although it may be true, to some extent, depending on what the situation is, it's not always the best answer. The way me and my partner handle our agents is, look, every single time we want to talk to you and figure out exactly where your struggles are, right?
Yeah.
This month may be different than last month.
Correct.
Might be leads this month, might be just personal things, that are holding you back, and wherever we can help. And that's where a mentor comes in.
Yeah.
A good mentor,
True.
helps you in all aspects rather than just one.
And someone who's accomplished what you're looking to accomplish,
Yeah.
versus just some random person that promises the world. But, there needs to be some proof.
Yes.
I think that's what drives me nuts. You mentioned earlier, like the amount of stuff that gets sold in our industry. It is two agents, actually. It is, and I'm one of them. But like, it drives me nuts when people are like trying to teach or do things that they've never done. Or sell stuff they did once.
Yeah.
for like a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. If they want to, this has been great, by the way. You've been awesome. Phenomenal information. If you love this man, let Ryan know in comments below. Also, his last name is Vallett.
You got it.
Ryan Valet, but Vallett. If they want to learn more, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, so essentially you can go. Honestly, I'm an easy guy. Email is super easy.
Cool.
You can email me direct or our agency. It's just so our agency email is Ryco, so RYCO, have it all @gmail.com.
Have it all. Ryco, have
you
it
can
all.
have it all, right?
You can, man. You were just in Florida, Destin, selling from a condo overlooking the beach for 9 days.
Yes.
So you can.
Yes. And you can go to my YouTube. Selfish plug, you know.
Let's go,
Go to my
please.
YouTube, yeah.
It's about
yeah.
time.
That's right.
We've been talking about his
that's right.
YouTube channel for the last 18 months.
Yes,
This is good.
yes, he's been on me.
What is it? Is it under your name or?
Yeah. Just @Ryan Valet.
Cool.
There might be a period in there. Now I got to remember.
Not
Right?
hard to find. You guys will figure it out.
Yeah,
There's you guys are smart people.
Yeah, I don't think there's many Ryan Valets out there anymore.
I don't think there is either. You're the first and only one that I know.
I'm kind of a big deal, so.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
But
you?
yeah, that's it, man. That's
Yeah.
it.
Boom. Let's go. I'm subscribing right now. Ryan
Very nice.
@Ryan Valet. Yeah. No period. You got it. That's good.
Nice. So
Cool.
Yeah. Or you can email me direct. It's just my first initial last name. So RVALLETT @gmail.com. So either one.
Cool.
Again, we're picking very selectively, but we've got a tight knit group that we're trying to help people be successful selling final expense. So
I love it, dude. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for driving in, and thanks for being on the podcast.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, man.
You got
Really
it, buddy.
appreciate
Okay. Also, appreciate you listening. And if you made it this far, here's a little bonus. You can go to kaboomleads.com, use coupon code YouTube, and get 10% off your very first order of Kaboom Leads. It's been popping off. I've got 103 agent testimonials in my phone right now over the last 90 days.